I'm Chronix from the most extreme wrestling, and this is your NXT review for August 21st, 2013. We're back here at the Full Sail Arena. You can smell the freshness in the air because unlike Raw and SmackDown, we don't have to worry about all these same old guys being repackaged and seeing them through the years, growing tired of them all the way. Nah, see, on NXT, you got fresh new guys, and if they're not fresh new guys, they're at least fresh new guys to the WWE audience. And they're not going to stick around forever because it's like a developmental territory, and it just makes me feel so good. Now, we start off the show with Alex Riley back on commentary. Question marks just start rising up to my head because he wasn't there last week, but he's back. But I do like Alex Riley on commentary. I mean, really, the guy just fits right into that role. He has the voice to make it happen, and I like that. I like William Regal and everything, but I kind of wish that they would make a decision on who the commentary team is. It's like a revolving door next to the guy I can never remember his name. Now, we start off with a match that was made last week. It's Bayley versus the Divas champion AJ, and AJ comes down to the ring wearing her Dolph Ziggler bracelets, and I was like, I haven't noticed on Raw and SmackDown if she's still wearing those, and I'm trying to think in my head, like, why does that make sense? Because she's not with Dolph Ziggler, she's with Big E Langston, and she used to be with Dolph, but they like broke up. So is it because she's a crazy character that she keeps wearing them, or is it the fact that perhaps this episode was recorded weeks in the past when she was still with him? I'm not really sure how far in the past this particular episode was recorded, but what makes me think about it is I saw the two women's champions, AJ and Paige, together holding their belts. It looked like that Paige had just won it, so it just made me think that this episode had actually been recorded a long time in the past, but perhaps not. Alright, so the crazy AJ is going against the somewhat sparse and kind of a little bit crazy, not so much, Bayley. I wanted to comment on Bayley because this is really the first time I've ever seen her actually have a match. She didn't really get squashed, which is good. She hung in there. Bayley is not tiny. She's actually pretty muscular, she's pretty big, and she seemed to be pretty good for being so new. She has her own look, and she looks like, you know, she could actually be a good wrestler and everything. So I think that her future is probably all good. And the fact that they put her in a match with the Divas champion on NXT, they chose Bayley out of everyone. So, you know, it makes sense. Bayley's got a future. But it did make me think about something. About her gimmick. On a fundamental level, she's a little bit nuts, right? And I think it's interesting. Successful divas in the WWE, they always seem to have a crazy gimmick. If they're not a super hot bombshell lady, they have to have a crazy gimmick. I think it speaks volumes for our society that pretty much the only two successful divas we can have are either crazy or they're just super hot models. So Bayley wants to start off with a hug because she really likes AJ, and she was just so excited that she got to have this match, and the crowd starts chanting, "Hug it out." But not so much. There was a point in the match that AJ did a neck breaker. She didn't do it once, she did it twice in a row, and she was holding it all the while. I thought she was going to go for a hat trick, and it probably would have been the first time that I can remember somebody doing two neck breakers in a row without letting go. You know, it's like when people do the three suplexes or the three German suplexes without letting go. So I thought that was actually kind of interesting there. But AJ didn't take her very long. She won. Now we got Tyler Breeze in the background, and I have my full attention. I want to see what this guy is about to do backstage. So he sees this girl, and he's like, "Hey, could you like take a photo?" And she's like, "Sure, I guess we could take a photo together." But he's like, "No, I really need you to take a photo of me." And, I mean, I guess because he got tired of having 15,000 selfies or whatever, but he decides that he wants a full body shot without his arm sticking out, I guess. So he gets this ladies to take this photo with him. And then this guy with dreadlocks photo bombs in the background. This actually kind of happened last week, not with the same situation, but this guy, whose name is CJ Parker, photo bombing in the background. And Tyler Breeze finds out about this after the lady and everybody is gone. CJ Parker's gone, and he starts getting all upset. and it made me laugh because I never really heard Tyler Breeze talk so much, and hearing him talk, it just made me think of the whole Zoolander character, of them being models and everything. So I'm kind of assuming that's what this is based off, especially since they're making a second Zoolander apparently. So for me, it's all good in the neighborhood because Tyler Breeze, I just think it's hilarious. Now, we got Ron Hicks and Michael. I don't know who these guys are. It made me think back to the Beyond the Mat documentary where Jim Ross was talking to some jobber guy who was trying to get a break in the WWE, and he's kind of like pointing towards the wrestler's chest, and JR says, yeah, you really kind of need to work on this region right here. And it kind of made me think about these guys because they were a little bit oddly shaped. They were kind of an odd pairing. I think one of them actually was built pretty well, but the other guy, he didn't really have much of a chest. I mean, I know it's kind of a weird thing to comment on, but sometimes some things pop out. I knew in full effect that they were jobbers when the Ascension came out, and really the only thing that's ascending about these guys is their hairlines. I mean, I love them in the ring, but they're just kind of doing the same old thing, which I know eventually they'll start having longer matches, I guess, but right now they're just showing off their finishing moves and their double T moves, which I guess is okay, but I get it. I'm just ready for better matches, or longer matches at least, but I'm sure that will come with time. But in the end, the Ascension wins, and I like that. That's cool. I mean, that's the only outcome that makes any sense, right? And then the one guy does his uncomfortable pin where after the 3 count, he continues to hold and cradle the fallen guy. Even when their music plays, even when the lighting has changed, he's still cradling him ever so gently. Now we got Corbin. This is the guy who's attempting to complete his own set of CM Punk tattoos over his chest and arms, which is kind of odd. Maybe perhaps he had actually started on those tattoos before, and now he's all upset because CM Punk has those tattoos that he was going to go for. I don't know. Maybe it's just a way to cover up your pectoral region. Maybe we'll find out someday. He's going against CJ Parker. That's the guy who's been photobombing everywhere. Apparently, he is from the Moon Child commune, so he is a hippie. Interesting. I thought that hippies were just from, like, 1969, and then after that, it's kind of like they don't call them hippies anymore. They're just, I don't know, they're just regular people? Or they're hipsters? I don't know. I actually went to a party not that long ago where there was a ton of hipsters. And I always kind of make fun of hipsters, but I don't really understand what they're about. The way they look, it just makes me laugh. They have the funny glasses. They talk about bands that no one's ever heard of. And they use the word ironic a whole lot, right? And they drink weird beers from places I've never heard of that they've traveled to, but I actually ended up having like a 3-hour-long conversation with some of these people because I was stuck at this party and I wasn't the one driving. So it was kind of an adventure, I must say. But anyways, this guy stuck in 1969. You got the 1969 like visuals and the whole music playing. The only thing that was a little bit more modern was his haircut because he had like dreadlocks or whatever. Against Corbin's tattoos' best efforts, he could not win. CJ Parker walked away with the victory. And I also must say, man, it really sounds like I'm hating on Corbin. I'm really not. I'm just commenting. I know they're in developmental, so things could change for the better. I'm all for that. Corbin wears these pants. They don't really look so much like tights. They might actually be tights, but they look more like, let's see, they look like janitorial pants. Except they're very, very skinny, and they make his legs and his waist look smaller than they probably should be, so it makes him look like he has toothpick legs. If I was him, I would switch to something else that looked better. I don't know. Maybe he paid way too much for those pants and he's like, dang it, I am not letting this go. It cost me too much and people are just gonna have to deal with it. But after the match, CJ Parker from Moonchild Commune gets interviewed and they start asking about all the photobombing he's been doing recently, and he says, whoa man, that is harsh. Photobomb? I would much rather call it photo lovin'. And I was like, wow, that was actually pretty funny there. But Tyler Breeze comes down to the ring, and he is super duper upset because of all of this, photo loving, as he calls it. On the Titantron, you have the photo of the photo loving CJ Parker getting in Tyler Breeze's photos. Yeah, that thing. And the Moonchild himself says, "Chillax, Hatsubati, don't so much worry about it." So I see a match happening with those two in the future. So as I think about CJ Parker and his gimmick, it kind of makes me wonder. People always hate on the whole 1995 horrible gimmick stint. You know, you had Atom Bomb and you had the Goon and stuff like this, right? Well, I kind of wonder, I look at some of these gimmicks, and I like some of these gimmicks, but it kind of makes me think that this is the 2013 equivalent of that. You know, you have Tyler Breeze. He's a guy who's a runway model clothes shower offer or whatever, and then you got a 1969 hippie and CJ Parker. It's just, you kind of look at these gimmicks, and they're kind of a little bit over the top, and they're kind of very, very, very gimmicky. I don't know. For some reason, it just kind of seems to fit. Maybe it just didn't fit so much in 95, because 1995 was a really crazy weird time. I was a little kid then. I know how history went, and the youth of that time was very, very, very different than they are now. I guess it makes a little bit more sense, but I don't know. I might have to ask a psychiatrist or something about that. Now we have Alexander Rusova. See, that's what I'm talking about. This guy comes out wearing buffalo skin as tights or something, and he just looks like a Neanderthal. See, that's what I'm talking about, that whole 1995 vibe. But anyways, he's going against Dolph Ziggler, and he's got a board that he etched Ziggler's name in, and he breaks the board across his knee, which I thought was kind of funny. I don't know. It was just kind of weird. I thought, did he carve his name into a board? And why did he do so? Just so he could break it? I guess tearing a t-shirt in half would not be Neanderthal enough. But anyways, I wondered in this match how much Alexander was just going to put the beat down on Ziggler or whatever. Because, he really impressively broke that board, let me tell you. Ziggler, he gets dumped onto the apron and rolls to the floor, and that looked pretty sick, I must say. But Alexander, this dude pulls off a spinning wheel kick, and I was like, holy crap, this guy is 300 pounds. They keep showing the replay, and I could not see at any point where he connected with the spinning wheel kick. It almost looked like he attempted a back elbow, a spinning back elbow or something, because, yes, he spun around for a heel kick, but I did not see his legs leave the ground and fly into the air. Maybe he did connect with it, I don't know, but it definitely was not a 1-2-3 kid spinning heel kick, is all I'm saying. He goes for this top rope splash, and this is 300 pounds coming down, but he does not hit it. Dolph Ziggler hits the zigzag for the win, proving that he can do this move on anybody, which I'm sure that anyone with a brain would already have known that. Alright, so now we're going on to the main event. It's Sami Zayn versus Antonio Cesaro, and while seeing a match like this, 2 out of 3 falls, I don't really feel so bad for missing so many Ring of Honor shows in the past, because we got these two guys here. 2 out of 3 falls, you know it's gonna be a classic, right? Well, Sami Zayn gets the first pinfall victory very, very quickly. He runs in there, he just kind of rolls him up or whatever, and Sami Zayn gets the win. They begin to wrestle. Antonio Cesaro gets his first pinfall victory in the match against Zayn, so now they're 1 for 1. And the match was going good until the announcers said this. The announcers tried to explain how this match is a harder, crazier match than a ladder match or a Hell in the Cell. I'm sorry, but not even JR could even attempt to explain how a 2 out of 3 falls match is much more brutal than a ladder match or a Hell in the Cell match. Whatever, man. I'm gonna ignore that, because they was doing some moves that I was just like, holy crap. For instance, you had Sami Zayn, and he did a suicide dive. Not from the inside to the outside, not from the outside to the the inside. Alright, so you got the corner, and they meet. And in that corner, you got your little turnbuckles or whatever. So, on one side, I guess you would call it caddy corner. Never thought I would use that in a review, but the word caddy corner. Okay, so you got Sami Zayn in one caddy corner, and in the other caddy corner, you got Antonio Cesaro. And underneath the second turnbuckle, I believe it was, Sami Zayn did a suicide dive from the outside, flying through the caddy corner of the ring to the outside of the ring, hitting Antonio Cesaro. I personally have never seen it. I don't know if anybody's done in the past, but it impressed me greatly, must I say, whether other people have done it or not, because that seems just nuts. And not only did he just fly through it, I believe that he actually connected with a tornado DDT with that. It was just blowing my mind. But towards the end of the match, we got Antonio Cesaro, and it looks like he's about to get another tornado DDT, right? And he says, "Oh no, I'm the Swiss Superman, and I am super strong." And he takes little Sami Zayn, and he lifts him up into the air, and then he does his little uppercut move, can't remember what it's called, and Antonio Cesaro gets the pinfall, wins the 2 out of 3 falls match. It was not as brutal as a ladder match or in the Hell in the Cell, but it was pretty crazy, and it was pretty insane, and man, that match was greatness. So, the 2 out of 3 falls match, it lived up to the hype. I don't think they really gave it much hype anyways, but I just assumed that these two guys in a main event, 2 out of 3 falls just had to be good, so I was looking forward to a good match. It was a good show, NXT, this week, as it pretty much always is. Will Alex Riley be back next week? I have no freaking clue. It'll probably be William Regal for some unknown reason. Maybe he only works every other week. Maybe if they record 2 shows at one time, then he only works for like 1 hour, and then Alex Riley comes in, but then that one guy, who's a new guy, he has to stay the whole show. I guess it's because he's a newbie? I have no idea. Maybe it's because he needs to stop saying things that make no sense. In any event, NXT, good show. I will see you guys next time.